So today, in the programming Q&A, it's a very good question. What is the best way for us secondary programmers to work on and then get added code to you? Do we clone your or branch your Git? Then would I get changes to you? Is pushing a change to use standard functionality in Git? So let me start with that last question actually. Is it standard functionality? It's not, but it kind of is. The way Git is meant to work is you create a fork, okay, we call it a fork of a repository. Then you'll work on that fork, usually in a branch of your own. That's just the terminology with Git, but we'll go over some of that stuff as we go through it. Do we clone or branch your Git? The answer is yes, you're going to clone it, but via a fork. It's the easier way, but at the same time, you're going to clone it down to your own computer, so it gets a little interesting. I'll show you how we do that, though, okay? We're going to first talk real quick about covering Git, how to contribute for the first time, and then I'm going to walk through a few scenarios, a few advanced scenarios that you might run into with Git. All right, to start, I am currently logged in not under my FreecoiL account, but under my Wolf-Rage account on GitLab, so this is a separate account, okay? It's not the repository you're used to seeing. That one looks like this one. This is the FreecoiL account. You can see that that one is logged in correctly, so I have two different browsers here to log in. This one's logged under FreecoiL. I'm not going to use that one right now. Instead, I'm going to use the Wolf-Rage one, okay? And I'm going to now fork FreecoiL. So make sure you have a GitLab account. Then we're going to log in. We're going to search for FreecoiL. Make sure you're all logged in. And go to FreecoiL. And then we're going to create a fork with this button right here, this fork button. You could clone. We're not going to do that. We're going to fork because it makes it easier overall on you. Okay. Probably won't have that prompt there. Forking is in progress. Alright, so this essentially creates a clone, okay? But it creates a clone on GitLab. And with a fork on GitLab, you could separate it from mine if you wanted to break the project off and go a different way than where I'm going. I would hope that you guys don't do that, because instead I'm trying to be super receptive on inputs. Just slow to try to get everything done because it's a lot of stuff to do. You can ask the other people who've programmed the full-up games around FreecoiL. There's a lot that goes into it, but with a community we can get there. Okay, so we successfully forked it. There are no forks of this fork, okay? That's why it says 0 here, but you can tell that it was forked because it says forked from FreecoiL, okay, into now this is Wolf-Rage 8765's FreecoiL. So now I have my own fork. Alright, if I just want to contribute some documentation, the easiest way to go about this is to go ahead and use the web IDE. Alright, when we click on the web IDE, it has the master branch. That's what we're working from. That's perfectly fine. We're doing what's called trunk-based development. That's over here, trunk-based development. You'll learn more about it. Essentially, the biggest thing is we're going to kind of look like this. We're all working off master. We make little branches to be able to do our work and then contribute right back, okay? If you don't do feature branches or whatever, I'm okay with that. I often do just for my own understanding, and then I keep master as stable as possible. Alright, so I'm just contributing some documentation changes because, yeah, this product needs more documentation. That is for sure. So I'm going to go into the documentation, and we're going to say settings.session. Doesn't have enough information here. Critical because they're not passed over the network and they're not saved between runs. And this is like a game scratch pad. It keeps from all other players. But it still comes with all the other benefits of being a settings data class. We can also put, let's see, we'll say the session data is reset when the app restarts. Okay, just as an extra bit of information and to make our contribution. Okay, there's a lot of documentation that can be added, like I said, so if you want to find some and add it, go ahead. This is their web IDE from GitLab. I'm doing it all on GitLab. If you want to make a new file, say you need a piece of documentation that's not there, just click on this drop down arrow and you can click new file and it'll make a new file. You can upload files, you can make a new directory, you can rename, move things, and delete stuff. Okay. After you've made all the changes that you want, and this can open multiple files, make changes to multiple things. That's why I really like it over the GitHub IDE, which only allows you to edit one file at a time. Let's come down to review. We can see what we did different. It'll go ahead and show us. It's kind of compact here, but basically showing that we added to that line. And if you go down here to commit, okay, these are 3 tabs on the side. Now you're ready to commit. So what did we do? Added session is reset when app restarts. If you go too long with this, so like if I said, and other things, okay, I didn't even type it right. It doesn't matter. You see this orange highlighting here? It might be a little hard to see, but there's an orange highlight. That's telling me that it's longer than it really should be for your first line. Okay, so if you make multiple lines, make your first line short and sweet. Okay, to the best of your ability, and then just press enter. And it's on the second line, and it won't bother you. Whatever comes after, it doesn't care. It's just that first line needs to be short and sweet. Okay. Commit to master branch or create a new branch. I recommend creating a new branch. Okay. Doc update. The names for the branches are all going to be continuous. Okay. And so, and usually it's lowercase, doesn't have to be. So we'll say doc update session. All right. And do you want to start a new merge request? The answer is yes, you do. Okay. That's how you're going to get the data back to me. And this is all using just the GitLab IDE. I'm going to hit commit. Now when we do that, it takes us to the new merge request. So it's going to say, okay, so this is your branch, doc update session, and you want to merge it against FreecoiL FreecoiL master. Okay, you could change the branches if you needed to. All right, say you were not merging against my master, but one of my other branches, you could do that. Or say it wasn't really this branch that you were using, it was something else, you could do that. Okay, compare branches and continue, gets us right back here. All right, another short, sweet title. If it's a work in progress, just add WIP colon to the beginning, or draft colon to the beginning if it's draft. Add the description of what the goal is for the changes and anything that I need to be aware of. Then the approval, default approver is me. Okay, you can't change that. That's because I am the person who has to approve everything for the FreecoiL repo. That's just because it's a good idea to have someone definitely review everything. All right. Merge options, you can delete your source branch, so that way it just goes away, so then you can make your next branch and move on. You're going to squash commits when merge request is accepted. I prefer that, it just keeps it nice and clean. Don't have to do it, but I would prefer it. Allow commits from members who can merge of the target branch. You really should do this. I think I can do it anyways, so it doesn't matter if you check it, I don't believe, but check it anyways. And then submit merge request. So now we're going to go ahead and submit it. All right, when that happens, it should trigger the FreecoiL webhooks. All right, so you made a commit through the GitLab, IDE, and it made a merge branch, and it's ready to go. Bam! It just triggered my. I just triggered the GitLab FreecoiL bot. So now if I go to FreecoiL webhooks, all right, you can see we just got this brand new one, and it's in there. It's on the chat screen also. J Farrell opened a merge request to add sessions added session is reset when the app restarts. Okay, so that allows me to go ahead and go in there and find it and check it out. All right, so while checking it out, if I bring this one over, what we'll notice is, for me, if I go to project overview again, merge request is currently 0, but bam, once I refresh it, now merge request is 1. So when I go in here, sidebar's all screwed up. I'm not sure why. Refresh this real quick. Oh, because it just took to the top. There we go. Okay, so there's a merge request. It's the added session is reset when app restarts. So now I can open this up. What it allows me to do is see what kind of commits you've made. If you made multiple commits, that's not a big deal. Take as many commits as you need. Save your data often with Git. Okay, we'll talk about how to do that. Even if you need to do it through the GitLab IDE, you can still update those branches and keep making changes. So like if I say, hey, something needs to change, because I'm going to take a look at the code, or what you did, right? It's going to show me the minus, the plus, and break it out for me. When I see those, I can then make my own edits. I can also comment on it, so I can start putting comments in, and that's what I will do, like as a code review. I will start adding comments like miscapitalization, or inconsistent variable names, things like that. So I'd go through and have a little comment session with you basically through the files to be able to have you make those changes. As you make those changes, it will get rid of those comments basically. They're not really gone, but it'll hide them because like, okay, you fixed that issue. In the overview, I can also add an additional overall comment, which will probably be like, see the comments that I added to your files and please make the improvements as requested. Okay, something like that. You'll go ahead and do that. People can thumbs up it, thumbs down it. They don't like it, so this is kind of the community aspect that everyone can get in here and get a little vote on it. We're generally going to accept contributions, okay? I do my best to do that. All right, once I like it and everything is set, I will go ahead and approve it. All right, so now we have the approval. It doesn't immediately merge it though, okay? I can have a couple options on there. I can merge when the pipeline succeeds. I know it's going to fail because our pipeline is currently failing. It's my fault. I need to fix the build portion. Everything else should pass though, so as long as these 3 pass, I'm going to accept it. I can also merge it immediately, so this is still more my side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, so that way you can see what it looks like. All right. Merge in progress. It cherry picks it. It's going to, again, trigger the webhooks. And bam, approved merge request. That's in there. And another one's going to be coming real soon. Discord's kind of messing up today, but keep on going here. Alright, so the changes were merged in. Now one thing to note, back to your side, right? Right now I'm on FreecoiL, so I'm going to move this out of the way. Alright, I'm back on Wolf Rage. Okay, so I'm on the Wolf Rage one. I'm on, currently it says FreecoiL, so I want to go back to my repo, my repository. So if you just go over here and go to projects, your projects, you can get back to your projects, like jFarrell or Wolf Rage 8765 FreecoiL. Okay. All right, so now I'm back on this one. There's merge branch master into master. It was authored by me 10 hours ago, so this doesn't have the most recent updates. So to get that update, you can't really do it from here. This is the gotcha. So you'd have to fork again and erase and delete your thing, and that's just not great. So to make up for that, you have to clone your own repo. Okay, so we're going to go down here and we're going to go to clone and copy this URL. This is important anyways. You need this for being able to do the rest really, and keeping your repo up to date. All right. So I'm on the terminal here. I've done some previous attempts to merge stuff here, and it all worked out. So, but I didn't record correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm in a directory that I want to make a new. I want to put the FreecoiL repository, my FreecoiL repository, my fork, right? So this is separate. This is as Wolf Rage or jFarrell or as you. going to go ahead and create the new folder. I'm going to call it source_demo. I'm then going to clone into there. So I need to cd to source demo. All right, that's cd for change directory. I'm going to git clone that URL that I just copied, okay, which is my URL. Notice it's the Wolf Rage 8765. It's not the Ferrobytes one, so I'm cloning that one, okay. And then where do I want to put it? // is this folder, so I want to put it in there. If you don't do that, it'll create a folder inside the folder you just created called FreecoiL. That will actually be your fork. It's your call if that's what you want it to do. That's fine. Just don't put the // after that. Okay. All right. So it's going to download it and clone it. It is a fairly large repository. Downloads about 500 megabytes of data. It needs that for the history and stuff, and the actual total repository size is around 1.8 gigabytes. It's pretty big. So at some point, I'm going to make a new branch of the repository that's going to be fresh without all the old data that I used to store with building the engine and everything else. Because I used to have a lot of stuff in there where I had to build the Go.engine and stuff. Okay, so we were downloading, cloning the repository to our computer. Once we have the repository on our computer, one of the first things that we want to take care of is we want to git status to make sure that it's actually a repository. Like I said, if you didn't do the // you're going to have to go cd into the FreecoiL directory like that to then be in a git repository, and git status should work. If you don't, and you did it without putting it in that folder, then you're going to get fatal error, not a git branch, so not a git repository. Okay, so one of the first things we want to do is we want to get that new change that just got merged into the FreecoiL Ferrobytes master. Okay, so again, I'm still on the Wolf Rage one, but I want to go ahead and jump to the main Ferrobytes FreecoiL repository. I'm going to go ahead and click this clone button and copy the URL. I'm not actually going to clone it because I have a clone of my own, right? So what I am going to do is I'm going to update off of Ferrobytes' master. Okay, I'm going to do that by doing git pull. I'm going to put that URL right there. All right, I'm already on the master branch, so that's good. I'm going to press enter. It's going to pull, and it's going to do this thing called fast forward. This is what should happen most of the time. Fast forward. And now you have all the changes. As long as you're not committing directly to your master branch, you won't have a problem with your master not syncing with the other master. Okay, so we'll just keep pulling the history as we go. As we make contributions, we'll just keep pulling that history. Keep working in branches. That will keep you safe. That's why I recommend doing that. So you don't have any git conflicts. Okay? All right. After we did that, now let's say we wanted to make a change as a programmer, right? So if I get status right now, where your branch is ahead of your origin master. What it means is it's talking about, again, your local copy, but your local copy is ahead of your GitLab copy because you then pulled from Ferrobytes FreecoiL. So now we need to push those up. Git push should all be set. Gonna have to put in our username. Give me a second. And password. Alright, so now it pushes. So now if we come over here, refresh. Bam. So we merge branch doc update session into master. That's actually by Ferrobytes, not by jFerro, because that's literally what I pulled from the main master repository. You should do this pretty much daily if you can. Anytime, definitely, that you're going to contribute code, update your master, okay? All right, so git status again. Why? Just to make sure we know where we are. We're still on master. We want to make a new code contribution. We're going to work on Awesome New Feature 2, which is going to replace Awesome New Feature, which was on my previous recordings, okay? We're going to make a branch. Git, you can do -b, or you can do branch. And then you're going to name what it is, okay? So, awesome, Wolf Rage. Really doesn't matter. It shouldn't be name conflicts though anyways because we have different submitters. So awesome feature 2. Okay, so we're going to get branch. Something to note, and don't make this mistake, if we get status, you're still on master. So you need to get checkout. Okay, so you go to checkout, you check out your awesome, you can tab to autocomplete, get checkout your awesome feature 2. Okay, we need to check it out. That's how we swap to the other branch. Okay, this is the same, it's true if you want to check out master, you're going to do the same thing, get checkout master. Okay, and that's whenever you need to update your master by doing a pull on the Ferrobytes FreecoiL repository. Alright, so we get checkout awesome feature 2. Now we have our new feature, and we're on a feature branch. These are literally separate files from the master. They don't hurt each other. This is the concept of branching. Okay, so now we can make a code contribution. I'm going to import by browsing to my folder that I set up here, Ferrobytes source demo. Go to Godot. I have to go into Godot under source demo because that's where all the Godot code is. The documentation is up here on the top level along with Android. The old Godot engine area and the old Godot module area are still there. I'll wind up getting rid of those eventually. But we need to go to the Godot folder, find that project.godot, and now we can import it. We'll open that, import and edit. Just going to go ahead and open it up. It may do some re-importing, a few other things. Alright, we're ready to contribute code to the Ferrobytes FreecoiL repository. What you should do is what's known as toggle features, or feature toggles, or feature flags. It has many names. You can read this website on it by Martin Fowler. If you look up feature toggles, there's a lot of information on it. Essentially, the biggest thing is if you have something that you want to happen or you want to make a new change to code, right? Then you're going to create a feature flag. I'm going to show you how to do that on my project. Okay, so on my project, we want to use the file that is called undercode settings.gb. Okay, this is a very important folder file, and in here is awesome new feature. Okay, it didn't work out, so we're going to replace awesome new feature in here. You would just add your new, this is a variable, you're just making a name in this is called a dictionary, okay? And you're going to set it to true or false. So when you're testing it, you're going to set it to true. But when you're passing the code to me, you're going to wind up setting it to false until your feature is all ready, okay? So there's already several in here, things that I've been working on, and that I'll be working on more to get them, and they're in different states. So some of them are true, some of them false. So this should only really be true or false, okay? If you have to have something that has multiple states besides just true or false, it really shouldn't be because you're enabled or not enabled. Then you could use numbers, but we'll have to talk about those special cases. So like you could use 0, 1, 2, 3, however many states you need it. But we'll talk about that later. For features and for adding new code or even replacing old code, we should use these feature toggles, and it should be true or false. So you're going to put a comma, open your double quotes. I'm going to say awesome feature 2. Close our double quotes, put your colon, and we're going to set it to true while we're testing, okay? But because we're just starting this, we're going to say false, okay? Now that line won't be read anymore, all right, because it's now correct, the correct dictionary. So we have awesome feature 2 is currently set to false. What that does is this experimental toggles is up here at the top to make it easy for you and I. But down here, way below all the signals for settings, it gets set into a settings.setData. Experimental toggles sets that experimental toggles variable. Okay, this basically just makes sure that every session we have those experimental toggles and we can look them up. Okay, and they always get reset. All right, we can save. That's our first change. Okay, save often. You don't have to save every time you edit a file. I'm just showing you guys. So let me show you. So get status. Again, we're on our own branch, as it says, awesome feature 2. And it shows the file that we've changed, and it's in red. That means it's not yet added. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and git add, and you can use the trick here, star. If you do that, it will add all of the files you've changed. Okay, and press enter, and it will go green. Or you can change or add individual files. Okay, so we'll help follow along here, and bam. So I can add that single file if I wanted to, and that'll make it go green. You can do either of those. So I'm going to use my star technique. Realize the star technique does not work if the file is a hidden file. Hidden files on Linux, Unix, and for Git start with a dot. So like the .gitlab ci YAML file. That file does our build chain, and it also does all of our testing on GitLab. So if you want to edit that file, you have to add it as an individual file with .gitlab, okay, whatever the file is. All right? Okay, moving on. We added the file. If we get status again, it's green. This means it's ready to be committed, so changes to be committed. So we can go ahead and do that. Git commit. All right. Started. Awesome. Feature 2. And removed. Awesome. New feature. All right. If I need to discuss it in detail, just remember, press enter and type a whole bunch of stuff down here on the lines below. Okay, go ahead and save that. When I save it, it comes up with this message basically of what it did. One file change, one insertion, one deletion. And it puts your message that you did for that first line, and also generates a hash. This is a hash right here. These hashes can include alphanumerics. It just keeps every piece of commit separate, so that's how Git does revision history. You can see I have different hashes up here. So this is a full-length hash for the beginning and end. So lots of different things. Okay. So we have done that. Now let's talk about how we use this feature flag, okay, or feature toggle. I'm going to go to the main menu. So under scenes, main menu. And I'm going to go ahead and open up main menu. And then I want to get to the login because it has a good example. So if I click here, and now I click on the reference box, reference container, it has a script, and for its script, it is using an experimental toggle. So it says if setting sessions.getData, get that experimental toggles, get them all. That's a dictionary, right? So it gets that dictionary. Then to reference that dictionary, I want a specific variable in there. I'm referencing background resource loader. You do the same thing, but with awesome feature 2, okay? Or whatever the name of your experimental toggle is. If that's true, okay, so because I said just if that, remember it's going to return that variable. That variable is going to be true or false. So if that is true, this if statement will now execute everything below. And we're going to use the background loading if it's true, okay? And it's going to execute that code. The old code, okay, was this code. Originally, this was the only code that was in here. So I have the else statement. If that's not true, okay, because it's not a stable feature yet, and I haven't yet made it stable, then we're going to execute the else, because it's false, right? And we're just going to do it the old way, and load that sound the old way, which is going to freeze the UI a little bit, which is why I made this background resource loader, okay? So we don't freeze the UI. I hate freezing UIs. It's one of the things I try to avoid as best I can. That's why I talked a lot about the container and how important it is, and how I do resource loading and scene loading to prevent that. Okay? Alright. Take a quick look at my notes. Okay. So, we wanted to add our new feature, right? Let's just add it in here. Why not? So we'll say, at the beginning of this, make sure we're in the right spot. Okay, if, so settings, dot session, dot get data. We're getting the experimental toggles. And close quotes. We're going to get that dictionary. And then we need to look at awesome feature 2. And if we switch real quick, you see, alright, so, yep, it's awesome feature 2, just like that. So if that's true, we're going to put our colons at the end here. Pass. Check this out. So if your feature is not yet complete and you just need to build your if statements in the right places, then you can go ahead and put pass in there, and it'll make the code good to go. Your feature's not going to do anything because it's just passing, but that basically makes the statement correct. If you don't put that, you'll notice it's red, and it highlights the line below and says it's not correct code. Okay. Until you can put your code in there, just put pass. Okay. All right. So now we are ready to execute if that's true. Else, if it's not true, if you have that use case where if it's not true, then you can execute the old code or execute a different piece of code. That's our toggle, right? That's how it works. Pretty simple. Save this, and we'll commit it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get status. Tells us there's a file that is red. Okay, so it needs to be added. So get add star. Get status again. It's now green. Get commit. Build if statements for awesome feature 2. Control X. Yes. Alright, so we've committed twice now, but this is on our local computer. This is on our computer. It's not in the internet. So if I go to GitLab real quick, I go back to, this is the Wolf Rage 8765 FreecoiL. Okay, this is not the Pharaohbytes. You can see it's forked. So now if I refresh this, it doesn't have my commits. It's still on that last one that was 22 minutes ago. So what I need to do is called get push. You're going to push your changes up. Alright. Has no upstream branch. You'll get this error message. Alright, so we need to set it. We're going to set it to our origin, which is the same thing. It gives you the line to go ahead and do that. Origin is your repository that you cloned from. Okay, so you cloned from your repo. It's going to assume that is origin. Okay, and that's good. That's what we want. So we'll go ahead and set that. We need to go ahead and log in again. So okay, a second. Alright, and now let's push that branch up there. So push the branch up. Awesome. Now it talks about too, if you want to create a merge request for it, okay, it gives you the link right here. So we could actually click that. Give me a second. I need to do it on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that link. So I'm going to say you could copy that link. The other option is to do this. Now that you've pushed that branch, it'll actually say up here. You pushed up here just now, create a merge request. You can also switch to that branch and then create a merge request. Okay, multiple ways. You can go to merge request and start a merge request. But we're going to go ahead and take this right here, create a merge request for awesome feature 2. All right, we could describe it in detail. And we can squash the commits, like I was talking about, allow commits from members who can merge. Alright, everything's all set. I've added the details, type in everything about why this feature is awesome and it should be added. And then submit merge request. Bam! That triggers our Discord, which seems to be working a little better now. And we got our new merge request is submitted, so now I can go ahead and look at that. So I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to become Pharaohbytes again. 1 second. Get to my project. Okay. It accidentally closed the window. Okay. Now that I've got here, merge request. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and look at that merge request. It's basically worked the same way. You just pushed it up, okay? you're not messing with your master. I'm going to be doing all the mastering. You're just going to keep your master in sync. I'll get back to that in a second. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and look over all the changes, just like I did, talked about it, right? I get to see everything. Everything looks good. I could make comments if it doesn't look good. But if everything is good, then I can approve it, and I can generate another response. I can choose to squash commits, which I'm going to do anyways, and I can merge immediately, before the pipeline even succeeds. Generally, I am going to wait until at least what I know is working on the pipeline passes, okay, just to make sure everything is good. So do expect, it'll probably be a few days turnaround on these kind of things, just because I have to look at your code and review it and make sure everything's good. And I'll usually be doing that on my days off, on my days that I work, just because I can do that from here, or from there, when I have free time. Not to be confusing, it was kind of confusing. Okay, so I merged it. This one is essentially closed. The refresh should say merged, which means it's closed. Alright, now we go back to your side and we refresh. Yeah, it was merged by me. Okay, it shows any history about it. It'll tell you if I commented on it, all those good things. You make your changes as needed. We can work back and forth on it until it's good to go. Now that that's all done, okay, now if we go over here, we finished that feature all up and it got merged, okay, or it didn't. You can keep committing on it, okay. So if you are like, okay, I need to keep working on it and this is just the beginning, that's okay. Go ahead and merge off and into master. As long as your code follows the feature tags and I can easily turn it off, then that's no big deal. If you don't follow the feature tags, then it'll be harder for me to merge your code, because then I have to consider, is this going to break master for everybody else, okay? But if you follow the feature tags, then you can always just put that to false and your code doesn't execute. We're all good. All right, so git pull, nothing to pull, you're going to be up to date. If I git checkout master, I git pull, this is pulling from yours, there's nothing different. But we know that the real master did change. So we have to remember at Ferrobytes FreecoiL, okay, I want to go to the Ferrobytes FreecoiL repository. I'm not on mine, even though I'm on my profile, right, Wolf Rage. I'm at the Ferrobytes one up here. So that I can clone that URL again, get those master changes. So we're going to get pull from the real master. Well, we're checked out on master. Okay, see, I switched, I checked out master, right? And it pulls it down and fast forwards all those changes in. And it was two different sets of changes, okay? This is what it's talking about. These are actually two different hashes. So this was the settings, and then it was the main menu portion that we did, right? And now those are added in. And yours is up to date. Now, don't make commits here, so git check out our awesome feature. All right, and then once we're back on awesome feature, we do git merge master. All right, we're going to merge master into it. It's going to pop up a message. Yep, we want to do that. Merge made by recursive strategy. So what it did is it basically just pulled those changes in. So now if I get status, all right. Now it says that mine is ahead because I need to go ahead and push this up. So we're going to git push. Got to log in again. I also need to push the master up again, just to keep everything in sync. Yeah, it's a lot of work with all the syncing and stuff. That's part of being a programmer and or documentation person in the open source community with Git. It's how everything stays in sync. So really got to do it. All right, so now we push that up. If we get status again, we're now up to date. And we're still on our awesome feature, ready to do some more work. And we can keep making those commits and working it. Okay? If you're going to continue to make changes, expect that I won't merge your change. Or maybe I do. It doesn't matter. It could be reopened. It's not a big deal. Okay. As you push those changes, we'll merge them later on, and we'll just keep working those merge requests. It'll be good. Like I said, git, check out, master. Don't forget to git push, because yours is ahead. And same thing, log in again. The reason I use the SSH for my other account is it's faster. Less of this copy and pasting the passwords in. Use a password database manager, KeePassX. So highly recommend it to keep all your passwords safe and secure and different. Alright, and we can get checkout back to awesome feature 2. Don't forget to be on the right branch. If you're not, it's not a big deal. You can always copy your changes over. You could undo them. Speaking of which, let's say we did something stash. Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a sec. So checkout master. Oops. Put caps on there on accident. Alright, so we're on master. And we started making a change. That was going to be something like print everything is awesome. Okay, we made that change there. Everything is awesome. Alright, if we get status, oh, I'm on master. I'm supposed to be working in my awesome feature 2 branch. What do I do now? Well, git stash is like this little repository that's on top of your repository. Bam. It takes everything that you had and it stashes it into this new little area, okay? Now, if you go ahead and this is just talking about here what your last thing you did, which was merge awesome into master. Alright, if you get status again, alright, everything's up to date and good. Now you can get checkout awesome. So we go to that feature branch again, okay? Everything's just normal status. So we can get stash pop. Okay, just taking it off the list and dumping it down. It dumps those changes now into this feature branch. Okay, that's cool. Now you can do git add star. That's star, not 8. Git status. We should have green. We do. Git commit. Added. Everything is awesome. X. Yes. Alright. Don't forget, we gotta push it. Push. Log in again. Alright, so pushed it up. Now this triggers a few different things. Okay, so if we refresh, go back to our repository. So let's go to our projects, no projects. Go to JFreecoiL FreecoiL. It says, hey, you pushed another thing. Would you like to create a merge request? Why, yes, I would. More changes. Okay. And we'll do the same things. I'm actually curious if it's just going to do that on top. So submit merge request. See what happens here. Alright. That triggered my GitLab with, hey, there's another thing for FreecoiL to work on. Okay, so we've got another commit. So go back over here. Features there ready for FreecoiL to work on. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. And I'm going to go ahead and look at the awesome feature 2. It's going to be reopened. Okay, so if I go back to my merge requests, bam, it's reopened again. That's fine. Okay, you're continuing to work, and I'm continuing to merge this into master. That's good. That keeps all of us in line with what we're doing and working on the latest code. So we're all seeing the latest code. So after you work on some code for a day, if it's good and it's passing tests and it's not interrupting or disrupting the rest of the mainline code, go ahead and commit it and push it up, and I'll look it over and we'll get it approved in. And then I know how you're doing and tracking along, and everyone else can track along. And then we don't step on each other's toes. Okay, so it's actually a good thing. All right, so I'll look over the code again. Okay, let's see, print everything is awesome. Okay, I guess that's cool. And I can see what it is. So this is from continuing where we were to now we added everything is awesome. That was 2 minutes ago. Let the pipeline go. Go ahead and approve. And we're going to go ahead and merge immediately. Okay. So I'm going to merge that in. And bam, it's merged. Once that's merged, don't forget, we need to update our master again. Okay, so get checkout master. We're going to get pull from FreecoiL FreecoiL, which is this one right here. So again, FreecoiL, we're updating our master. So go ahead and do that. It'll fast forward the changes in. Good. And you can actually fast forward your other one too. So won't be necessary actually. Let's see. We'll try it out. Get checkout. Awesome. Still working on our feature branch. And we want to get, oh, actually, let's go ahead and go right back to master here real quick. You might do these two operations, one right after the other. After you pull from my repository, get push to your origin, which is your repository. Log in. Obviously, you'll be writing more code, so you won't have to do all this login as much. All right, so again, get checkout. Awesome. And then we're going to get pull master. See what happens. It doesn't want to do that, so we have to merge master. Why are you merging master? Just to keep everything in sync. And because if you don't, you'll have problems. But this keeps it from having problems. Merge made by recursive strategy. What if you had some files that were you were editing? Oh no, you need to merge master in, right? It's no problem. Get stash. Okay, so just go ahead and stash those changes for the time being. If you made them green already and then you realize you need to merge master, all you got to do is get remove. Okay, it's not going to delete the file. It's just going to remove it from being ready to commit, and then you can stash it again. Okay, nice and easy. Sounds like Git is really tough. It also sounds like, oh my gosh, you could do so much damage and screw everything up, and oh no. But as long as I keep my repository safe, we're good. And by the way, I have copies of my repository because I am not a master with Git. I just do enough to get by. I'm pretty good at it. I've definitely had some catastrophic fails with Git, but I've always been able to recover because of how awesome Git is and because I make copies of it. So I have a copy on GitLab, I have a copy on GitHub, and I have two copies on my computer. Right now I have 3 because of the source demo. All right, so we talked about using the GitLab IDE, talked about making a clone on your computer, talked about git stash, we talked about git pull, git merge, how to do those things. And for wrapping it all up, I just wanted to say this is my 3rd try at recording this. I hope it helps get more contributions, and I hope that it was worth it for you guys. And thank you for everything that you guys do in the community with encouraging me and giving me ideas, and also with the contributions that you guys are making.